Sports presents the NCAA Championship. Today from St. Louis, Missouri for the Midwest Regional title and a berth in the Final Four, the Wake Forest Demon Deacons meet the Houston Cougars. The Demon Deacons need another good day from 6'6" sophomore Kenny Green. He's the pilot light which fires their inside game and has been quite impressive in tournament play thus far. The key for the Cougars is the backcourt wizard Alvin Franklin. He can break the zone with long-range jumpers, but can also penetrate when conditions so dictate, and he's having a terrific season.
Today's regional final tournament game is sponsored by Isuzu Cars and Trucks, Miller High Life, welcome to Miller Time, and by Team Xerox, the right products and right people, all working together.
Another good crowd is gathered here in St. Louis, Missouri at the arena for this Midwest Regional Championship game between Wake Forest and the Houston Cougars. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Vern Lundquist. With that overtime win over DePaul Friday night, Wake Forest is now 23-8 for the year, but don't be deceived by those 8 losses. Every one of them came in the fratricidal environment of the Atlantic Coast Conference. And the Houston Cougars are on a bit of a crusade. They want desperately to get back to the Final Four for the 3rd straight year and to avenge the bitter taste of last year's title game defeat to North Carolina State. Our expert analyst today is Steve Grody. And Steve, I just don't think Wake Forest is going to go about preparing for this game any different than they have all year.
No question. Anthony Tichy, their center, and Kenny Green will be instructed to play it safe defensively, stay out of foul trouble. They'll change defenses. Offensively, I think they'll take whatever they can get in terms of the fast break, look for them to attack the baseline against that Houston zone.
I think Houston thought they would play DePaul this afternoon. Is there any kind of a chance in your mind that they're looking beyond Wake Forest?
I don't think there's any question that Houston was looking for DePaul. And I think most Houston observers would say that this team plays best when their backs are against the wall. I don't know if they feel that way today.
Well, that's one of the keys to this game, and we'll determine it in just a moment. It's Wake Forest against Houston here from the arena. We'll meet the starting lineups in just a moment. Now to meet the starting lineups for both Wake Forest and the University of Houston, let's go to our public address announcer, Fred Cook.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the arena for today's Midwest Regional Final between the Demon Deacons of Wake Forest University and the Cougars of the University of Houston. Now let's meet the starting lineups. For Wake Forest at forward, a 6'6" sophomore from Eustis, Florida, number 21, Kenny Green. For Houston at forward, a 6'8" freshman from Houston, Texas, number 40, Ricky Winslow. For Wake Forest at forward, a 6'5" junior from Kingsport, Tennessee, number 34, Lee Garber. For Houston at forward, a 6'7" senior from Houston, Texas, number 42, Michael Young. For Wake Forest at center, a 6'9" senior from Goldsboro, North Carolina, number 55, Anthony Tichy. For Houston at center, a 7-foot junior from Lagos, Nigeria, number 34, Akeem Olajuwon. For Wake Forest at guard, a 6'2" junior from Hollister, North Carolina, number 15, Delaney Rudd. For Houston at guard, a 6'7" junior from Houston, Texas, number 44, Reed Gettis. For Wake Forest at guard, a 6'3" senior from Raleigh, North Carolina, number 20, Danny Young. And for Houston at guard, a 6'2" sophomore from Lamarck, Texas, number 20, Alvin Franklin. The head coaches for Wake Forest in his 12th season, Carl Tacey. For Houston in his 28th season, Guy Lewis.
Officiating crew for this afternoon's game, or the second game the other night, Larry Lembo, James Howell, and Norm Barucki. Lembo from Farmingdale, New York, Howell from Upper Marlboro, Maryland, and Barucki from South Laguna, California. In getting to the regional final, Wake Forest defeated Kansas in the second round and then had that overtime victory Friday night over DePaul, and Houston has defeated Louisiana Tech and Memphis State. Houston will control the point guard Alvin Franklin, the sophomore out of Lamar, Texas, who has been wild in the two tournament games. First meeting ever between Wake Forest and Houston, Steve.
Once again, look for changing defenses throughout the 40 minutes. A little man, some zone. They use some triangle and two. May expect to see a little bit of that today also.
Winslow takes the first shot of the game, and the rebound grabbed by Kenny Green. He had 13 rebounds in that win over DePaul Friday night. Into the corner to Delaney Rudd. Green back to Rudd.
Very interesting now. See, they've got Tichy at the foul line area and Green along the baseline. I think they would like to think they can hit Tichy right where he broke, right there, and look for Green along the baseline. I think they realize they need some good perimeter shooting in this ball game too. Right like that.
Delaney Rudd gets the first two of the ball game, and Wake Forest has a 2-0 lead.
Rudd had an off shooting game against Kansas, 2 for 10, I believe, but for the most part has played very well offensively in the latter part of this year.
Here's a man who had a bad game the other night, Michael Young. Now Olajuwon with his first shot. We're tied at 2.
Well, they go inside to Akeem, and once again, Tichy's not going to take a lot of chances. Make him make a good offensive move and convert offensively.
This is the 8th time Wake Forest has met a Southwest Conference team. Houston began the year by losing to an ACC team, North Carolina State. And interesting, Guy Lewis said that defeat hurt more than losing in the championship game last year.
But I think it was a great lesson to learn very early in the season for them.
First foul of the game as Alvin Franklin penetrates. Cougars have only 4 losses all year. They lost that opener to North Carolina State up in Springfield, lost to Fresno State out in Hawaii, lost to Kentucky at Lexington, and lost at Arkansas to end a 37-game Southwest Conference winning streak this year. So they are 30-4. Carl Tacey now in his 12th year. Spent 1 year as a head coach at Marshall, and Alvin Franklin, who is 21 of 24 in tournament play from the line, is now 22 of 25.
Well, that's a good point. And as maligned as this Houston team has been for their lack of free throw accuracy, this guy has done a pretty decent job over the course of the season, and particularly, as you mentioned, in playoff action.
First Houston lead. Let's check the Houston defense now.
Now, once again, you see the 2-3 zone, which is their basic defense. There you see Garber on that free throw line. Look for people to flash in there. That's where they'd like to attack this zone from. They're not going to be able to try and force it in there like that, though.
Michael Young, long pass to Reed Geddes, a 6'7" guard, back to Franklin. Franklin with 24 points Friday night, had 21 in the first game against Louisiana Tech. Olajuwon to Reed Geddes. Franklin will take the jumper off the glass, too strong. Rebound, Olajuwon knocks it back to Franklin.
Now let's take a look at what kind of defense they're playing. They're in a man-to-man now. But watch, they'll slough way off of Geddes when he comes to the point. Oh,
there's the answer. Geddes doesn't shoot that much. He had only 5 points the other night. His role is that of a playmaker. He had 9 assists in that game, and he has 286 assists for the season. Turnaround. Michael Young grabs it. A 6-2 Houston lead. We've got 17-25 remaining in the first half.
Well, I think Wake Forest accepts the fact that they're going to get some shots rejected today, but as you can see, they're going to take it inside and go at it, team.
Michael Young was 5 of 22 from the field Friday night, and he misses his first shot this afternoon.
And who would have thought that they could beat a Memphis State squad when Young would go 5 for 22 from the field?
Kenny Green got away with a travel.
Think so? I'm not so sure. Maybe a good no call. He lost his balance, but I thought he kept that pivot foot down.
So far, we've seen a lot of no calls.
Yeah.
They're going to let him play, it appears. Ball will be inbounded by Lee Garber as Carl Tacey looks on. 6-2, 16:56 to go. This year, Wake Forest 14-0 when they played outside the conference. As Brent Musburger said at the top of the show, they were 8-8 in conference play. And they are One of two remaining ACC teams in the competition. Now Mark Klein, outstanding freshman, comes off the bench.
Well, you know, other than he had a 20-point game off the bench and back in January and a home win against Virginia. Other than that, probably his second-best performance in that game the other night. Played a lot of minutes. You know, he's coming off mononucleosis. As he played more minutes, his shot was less effective. He was 3 for 9, but got some big rebounds. In fact, got 9 rebounds in that ball game. Contributed quite a deal.
Klein back to Danny Young, the hero of the win, with the last-second basket. Here's Klein's first shot of the day. It's good.
And once again, he'll shoot the ball best early in the stages of this game. Your legs will tend to get tired, and your shot will leave you.
16:20 remaining in the first half.
And boy, they got him guarding Michael Young. And you better be ready to run the baseline if you guard Michael Young.
Whoops, ball batted out of Olajuwon's hand. Here's Wake Forest on the run. Danny Young with the ball. Back to Klein. He'll take the shot.
Hey, this kid may be setting some precedents for himself in tournament action.
Do not give up on Wake Forest. We talked about their tenacity Friday night. They were down by 10 in the first half to DePaul. They were down by 8 with 3 minutes to go. Winslow puts Houston back on top. Think he walked?
No question in my mind. Took the shuffle step right off of the standstill and got away with one.
Houston has led by as many as 4.
Interesting to see the defensive strategy by Wake. Guarding everyone man-to-man, playing behind Olajuwon. Obviously, they're going to let Olajuwon get his, but they're concerned more about the offensive board.
There's a near offensive rebound, and Olajuwon has problems controlling it. And we're going to have a jump ball. Possession will go toward Wake Forest. Alternating hell ball rule.
I don't know if it's accurate, but at least in the early going with 3 misses, all on attempts taking it to the basket. Maybe Kenny Green thinking about Olajuwon a little bit.
Ball inbounded to Anthony Tichy.
I think Kenny Green thought he was wide open on that little move into the lane, wanted the lob pass.
Played 1/4 of the first half, just about. 15-10 to go. Klein with 4 points already.
You know, it doesn't surprise me that Wake's being very, very patient. You know, this is, well, that's who they want to beat them right there. My point was going to be, against the 2-3 zone, it gives them plenty of opportunity to run off 30, 45 seconds at a time and make this a low-scoring, tempo-type ball game that would be to their favor.
We're tied at 8 again. They try the alley-oop. It's too strong. Houston does not look that sharp early on. 14:39 to go in the first half, and a chance for Wake Forest to get their second lead of the game. They were out to a 2-0 lead. Now, Danny Young changing the offense.
Changing the offense, and also let me just say that they would love to spread the floor, make Houston play man-to-man, and force Olajuwon to guard someone away from the basket. And obviously, that's what they're going to do right now.
Count is on. Reed Geddes comes out to force the action. Rudd to the jumper is good. Delaney Rudd.
The crowd starts to boo. We've all heard the boring, but it will work. And you saw the Houston defense is not on its toes. They got a one-pass good shot. And I like the strategy.
Franklin off balance jumper, no good. Houston not hitting now.
Not hitting, not taking good shots, not playing defense. Look at this. Oh!
That is a clean block. That is the 198th block of the season. Carl Tacey thinks there might have been some contact. We'll check.
We'll find out. Now, Olajuwon was really trailing this play. You talk about them rising to the challenge. He came from nowhere to get that block.
Timeout has been called. Wake Forest leads.
Bird, take another look at this block. Carl Tacey wanted to foul, but I don't think there's any question it was all ball. I think one of the things you have to do against Olajuwon is use the rim, shoot reverse layups to shield him from blocking your shot.
Well, he's 2 away from 200 for the year. At the conclusion of every CBS Sports NCAA tournament broadcast, we'll be selecting the Chevrolet Most Valuable Player from each team. Chevrolet donates a $1,000 scholarship to the General Scholarship Fund of each school to further assist qualified students in all chosen academic fields.
Very important, good start for Wake Forest. They would prefer to play ahead. They did not. They had a bad start the other night, overcame a 13-6 early deficit. They're off and playing well at the start here.
Kenny Green, excuse me. Anthony Tichy and Kenny Green. Kenny Green has 4 of those 5 rebounds. Good pass. Whoops. Mistimed it with Klein.
Now, not only from an XO standpoint, but from a psychological standpoint, Houston having to play Wake Forest game right now. Oh, quick hands by Olajuwon.
That's a 7-footer moving like a 5'8" point guard. 10-8, Houston with a chance to tie. They have hit only 3 of their first 7 shots. Michael Young will not take the jumper. Good defense by Klein. Olajuwon turnaround. He'll get a chance for 3.
Now, Wake Forest fans are going to be upset. They think Tichy had his hands straight up in the air. But if you took a real close look, he didn't. He had his hands extended a little bit when Olajuwon went up. He hit the hands, and then they were extended straight up. Let's see from this angle if we can tell. See? His hands were stretched out just the least bit. They were not straight up in the air. Once again, Tichy playing behind. They do a good job of getting the ball into Olajuwon. Now, when Memphis State played man-to-man the other night, they went right into Olajuwon. Oh, that stopped me dead in my tracks right there.
Did you ever do anything like that at all?
You've kidded me a couple times about the free throws that I missed against Indiana in that national game. The next game I did all right, but the game after that we played at Michigan State, and I was 2 for 9 from the free throw line, and I almost threw an air ball. So this game becomes very much mental, and that's why I point out that Houston right now having to play Wake Forest games.
Carl Tacey liked that one, goaltending, and Wake Forest back on top 12. It really looks like Houston is not alert yet.
One of the ways to make sure your team is ready to play often is to put full court pressured man-to-man defense on a team. It forces you to get ready. That's just not one of Houston's repertoire. So
Ricky Winslow ties it up at 12.
Vern, nice chance here from this wide angle to see how they're spreading this defense and getting a good shot every time down. Delaney Rudd will sink that one off better than 50% of the time.
Delaney Rudd has 2 more. That's 8 for the game, and Wake Forest back on top. 12 minutes to go in the first half of play. Olajuwon, little muscle. They got him for it, traveling.
You love the way this Wake Forest team plays in terms of intelligence. Nobody overcommitted on help defense, although they did slide the ball in on the backside. Now, in a little bit of a 1-3-1 3-quarter trap, and this is one of their defenses, so they're into something now that they're familiar with defensively, Houston.
Houston having problems hanging on to the basketball. Olajuwon has it go out of bounds, and the Demon Deacons will inbound it. Take a look again now at the spread defense. Here's the substitution as Mark Klein comes back into the lineup, and Lee Garber would get a rest. Rebounding edge now 7-2, Wake Forest. Who'd have thunk it, huh?
They're shooting the ball well.
Olajuwon has yet to grab his first rebound. He's got 1 block.
Certainly they got a chance to give Klein a rest, but also against this defense, you expect to get some wide open jumpers. Klein hit his first 2.
9 times out of 10, Kenny Green's going to take that shot, but he didn't do it.
Well, one of the other things they talked about is the Houston defense doesn't pressure the ball a lot. And they don't want to take necessarily the very first jump shot they get. They would prefer to run some time, frustrate this team on the defensive end. Once it's a crowd now, boring, but I think what Wake Forest should come back with is effective.
It's working.
It is.
Michael Young, 0 for 2. The tip is good. Olajuwon gets the rebound.
Maybe the first time in the ball game where Tichy was out-muscled. And I think one of the things people forget when Olajuwon initially came to Houston, he only weighed about 190 pounds. He's really bulked up over the years, gained a lot of strength.
Now the Cougars have a chance to take the lead again. Largest lead of the game has been 4 at 6-2.
It'll be interesting now to see how successful Rudd is on his next shot attempt and how confidently he goes up after shooting an air ball like that.
Michael Young passes on the shot. Now they've got Geddes at point guard, and they bring Franklin down low. They can do that with him. Franklin can play either the point or the off guard, and he's down along the baseline right now. Now Geddes, number 44.
Well, Franklin's another kid from the guard spot that can really take you down and out-muscle you.
Olajuwon Looks sharp so far. He does, except for the problems he's had in handling the ball.
And how many times have you and I talked about not letting a big man put it on the floor? If you let him bounce it one time and turn into the lane, they're going to be tough to stop.
There has been no contest inside in this game so far. 16-14 Houston lead, 9:50 to go in the first half. Danny Green. Danny Young.
You know, you have to love the way this guy plays. We talked about it on that insert in the other ball game. He plays so smooth and quiet. You tend to forget he's there, but he makes a lot of big plays.
You think he's one of the 4 or 5 top guards in the country, don't you?
I do, and a whole lot of other people do too. He's a good one.
Ricky Winslow puts Houston back on top as Guy Lewis looks on. He's now number 3 among active coaches with Ray Meyer's retirement after Friday night. Has won 560 games. They'll spread it out again. Young, Delaney Rudd, who is the leading scorer for Wake Forest with 8 points. Denny Green gets 2.
I don't know that I've seen a guy operate as fluently along the baseline as Green does. He's got those long arms, so he doesn't have to jump so high. He jumps quickly, but with those long arms, get the ball in shooting position a lot quicker than the defense thinks. Into a little bit of a zone now in the defensive end.
That was a good way to break it. Franklin hit 4 in a row from long range in the Friday night defeat of Memphis State. It's 20-18, Houston on top.
We talked about would Houston be ready when this game started. Let's face it, they've won a lot of different types of ball games. They played a lot of games where they were heavy favorites, unemotional games, and with that basket, all Wake has been able to do now is play this team evenly, even though it seems like they're carrying the action.
First man in double figures, Delaney Rudd. He now has 10. We're tied at 20 with 8:10 to go in the half. Cougars, of course, lost in the championship game last year to North Carolina State. They were in the Final Four with Rob Williams, the leader, in 1982. Now Young will try it again. Boy, it's not falling for him. He's 0 for 3 now. And that makes him 5 for his last 25 shots. He's usually 50-55% with that jump shot.
Well, and I think some people feel like the Memphis State defense forced him a little bit out of his range. That shot was certainly within his range. It looks to me like they told him not to shoot it as quickly as he did the other day.
Guy Lewis up off the bench, dictating a change in the defense.
I'm looking to see if they're going to go into that 1-3-1 or just match up and give token pressure.
They got a 1-1-3 right now as Geddes is back on the free throw line.
Well, see, a good defensive adjustment now. Franklin giving the defensive pressure that you have to give by the rules, but leaving someone on the free throw line so they can attack from the middle of the court. See Geddes back in that area now as Klein tries to sneak in. Now Franklin should get back there, or Elijah will come up to cut it off.
6:50 to go in the half. Now they move it. Klein in the corner. Delaney Rudd, he's got 10. Still has only 10. Elijah Wan, the tip to Franklin. It's a 1-on-3 break. Oh, that's a charge. Block. Woo! And he got away with it. They call the foul on Delaney Rudd.
Well, we get the benefit of the instant replay. I thought initially that it was a charge. Let's take a look at it. Looks like pretty good defensive position to me.
Shot is good. Timeout has been called.
It was moving day. Things were going.
Look at that charge or no charge by Alvin Franklin, Steve Grody.
Well, Vern, so often we see a charge situation when the defense is set, but more than being set, what the defense is responsible for doing is being in position. Now, obviously, the defense has to be moving there to guard Franklin, and the defense, in my opinion, was in position, and Franklin initiated the offensive contact, and it should have been a charge.
Somebody disagreed with you. There was no basket. That's the first time, I'm sure. There was no basket. The foul occurred before the shot was taken. So we are still tied at 20 with 6:30 to go in the first half. Benny Anders has come into the lineup as the first sub for Houston, number 32. Anders, Mr. Instant offensive a year ago, but relatively ineffective this season, will take the jumper. It's
nice block.
Quick outlet pass. Here's Delaney Rudd. Nice feed. He shot is good. Anders with a foul. There's baseline to baseline mistakes from Benny Anders.
And Vern, we talked about it at the top of the show. Offensively, Wake Forest will take advantage from a fast break standpoint anytime you give it to them. Capable of operating at a lot of different tempos. Rudd did a great job here. Waited till the defense committed himself. Geddes tried to draw the charge, drew the contact, and probably committed a block, but the official let it go and let Tichy take it to the basket. 3-point play.
That gives Wake Forest its largest lead of the game at 23-20, and we've got 6:10 to go in the first half.
Now into a little bit of that zone jump trap, and a great pass that time. And anytime you do use a pressing defense out of the zone, good, crisp pass will get you pretty decent shots at the basket.
Olajuwon has been hitting 75%, and there have been a few of those towels in the last 28 years for Guy Lewis. Olajuwon was 75% in the last 6 games. He's got 10 points. This one.
Still with a 1-point lead. Wake Forest able to play this type of an offensive set. Now you see Geddes. Sole responsibility, prevent that ball from going to the middle. That's Rudd on the foul line.
Klein will take the jumper. He hits his 3rd from that spot.
He hasn't hit rim yet today.
Mark Klein, 6 points. Wake Forest back on top. 25-22, 5:20 to go. I get a feeling you like the job Carl Tacey has done preparing this team.
No question. You have to.
Geddes, Michael Young. Houston will inbound.
Tichy with quick hands. I love to watch defense, period, but I love to watch these big men who know how to position themselves inside. That time, Tichy from behind saw the pass coming, very quickly got around in front, got his hand on the ball without committing the foul. There you see him playing Olajuwon right now.
Houston needs to get Michael Young back into the offense. They can't do it all with Olajuwon. Now here's a steal. Delaney Rudd. Geddes behind him. And it's a 5-point Wake Forest lead. Largest of the game, 27-22. Rudd has 12 points. Delaney Rudd, who tied the game at the buzzer against DePaul with a 20-foot jump shot Friday night.
Boy, now that time, I think Franklin should have went inside. Olajuwon a little upset that he didn't get the ball when he had great position. Took out his frustration right there.
Of course, Houston keeps track of dunks. I mean, that's one of their official stats at the University of Houston. And for the season now, Olajuwon has 80. I want to make sure you're up to date on that. By Slamma Jamma. This is the second version of same.
Well, they also make a point that this team has... Do they keep a stat how many times they get dunked on? Because that's almost what you notice more than when they dunk.
Matter of fact, I don't see it. They've got 175 dunks for the season, but you don't see how many they have been dunked upon.
Well, once again now, that half-court jump press, 2 crisp passes, and they get another easy shot.
Olajuwon with 14 first-half points, 3:30 to go in the half, 29-26, Wake Forest leads.
And it's kind of funny, Vern. The crowd just sort of sitting around right now, trying to decide who they want to root for in this ball game. With the pace, the crowd really not much of a factor.
Interesting that the two, here's the shot by Rudd again. This one is an air ball, and Michael Young gets a rebound. The 2 closest cities to St. Louis, Chicago and Memphis, their teams eliminated, so Houston and Winston-Salem are represented here today. There's Anders again.
And what was it, 2 years ago when we had Kansas State and Missouri played in the semis in this regional, and both got beat. So the closest schools don't do well here.
Timeout has been called. Wake Forest wanted the timeout, so they call timeout with 2:55 to go in the first half. Forest leading Houston by 1 with just under 3 minutes to go in the first half. We're live from St. Louis, the Midwest Regional Championship game. I'm Vern Lundquist along with Steve Grody, and coming up at halftime, Brett Musburger in our New York studios will review yesterday's games and perhaps look forward to the second game this afternoon out in Los Angeles, where Billy Packer and Gary Bender stand by for Dayton and Georgetown as we determine the Final Four for 1984. Danny Young with the ball now.
We talk about Wake Forest playing well. They're running the tempo in their favor. But remember now, this is a Houston club that's faced this kind of play many times. It won both ball games in the Southwest Conference tournament in the 50s, 53-50, 57-56. So they've been successful playing a lot of different styles this year.
Foul on Ricky Winslow, the freshman from Houston Yates High School. I think many of you know by now, only the third freshman to ever start for Guy Lewis in his 28 years, the other being Michael Young and Clyde Drexler.
Houston extending their defense a little bit more now all over the floor.
Winslow, watch out, it's Rudd against Winslow, and he takes the wise course, misses the shot. Derek Giles misses it, there's a foul underneath.
He took off too soon. He should have just went in there nice and relaxed and dunked it. Now, Houston does a good job of following it up. Giles went, and then Young makes a great play, because when they miss the second one, Young's going to come. Oh, they're going to give him 2 shots, it looks like. Now watch. He's going to foul on the rebound. Well, they're going to say that they're going to say that he tried to shoot it off while he was in midair.
First look at 5'3" Tyrone Bogues out of Baltimore Dunbar High School. And that is his height. It's 5'3". It's legit.
I can't wait till, in fact, if Rudd and Bogues would change positions on the lane, I would love to see that. But look at how it goes from Bogues to Rudd to Elijah when they're all bending over now. But it's like the curve straight up the line.
Ricky Winslow controls for the Cougars. They're tied at 29 as Giles gets 1 of 2. Derek Giles, a senior guard, has replaced Alvin Franklin. Giles was a starter a year ago, and then Alvin Franklin got the starting spot in January last year.
Giles, I know that a player like that bothers a guard, but Giles handling himself pretty well with the ball and really fresh off the bench, too.
Geddes in the corner now. Too strong. Olajuwon to the rebound, and he was hit by 5'3" Tyrone Bogues. Now Geddes travels.
And I'm going to disagree with that call. I'm going to disagree with that call. I think when he got possession, he came to a jump stop and then took 1 step.
1:47 to go in the half. You look from our end of court camera high overhead. 29-29. It has been a tactical ball game, and Derek Giles fouls Tyrone Bogues.
That's just the 4th team foul, and certainly I think in the last minute 38 seconds, Vern, Houston does not want to get frustrated and pick up a lot of fouls and put them at the free throw line. They've performed very admirably playing Wake Forest game.
Alvin Franklin back in the lineup for Derek Giles. 1:35 to go in the half. Tichy won't even think about that shot.
I tell you, but you see the hesitancy there is to pass that ball across the court when Olajuwon's in that lane area. Green was open initially. They didn't throw it at the bounce pass along the baseline, nor did they try to lob over Olajuwon. He's stolen the ball a couple times. He's wide open. Give it to him.
He's got it. Foul. Anthony Tichy has not fouled out of a game this year. They played 31, and he's played almost 38 minutes per game.
This guy, Olajuwon's been open a number of times when they just haven't gotten the ball to him. Once again, they let him bounce the ball on the floor and get to the basket.
And that foul went on Garber instead of Tichy. I was a little bit quick on that.
Well, and if you're going to follow a big guy on the way up, make sure you strip the ball from him.
Houston on top by 3. Olajuwon, who's hitting only 52% of his free throws in tournament play, gets that one. And we're under a minute remaining in the first half.
And now with the lead, Houston can sit back in their 2-3 zone. And they look to be much quicker, more alert, on their toes defensively, moving well.
Kenny Green,
great position.
I don't care if it was goaltending. It was awesome.
It really was. You know, you almost can see Olajuwon's eyes light up when he knows somebody's going to shoot a shot around the basket. It's like a dog going after a bone or a biscuit, you know. I I saw him on a couple different occasions running from the defensive end on that one breakaway layup, running from the defensive end. He didn't get there in time, but when they see somebody, he sees somebody going to the basket, his eyes light up for the block.
Michael Young gets his first 2 points of the game, and it's back to a 3-point Houston lead. Garber, Bogues, Delaney Rudd, who has 12 points. Back to Lee Garber. Had a terrific game against Kansas in the second round. Didn't play all that well against DePaul the other night, or all that much. Now the final shot. Underneath, no good. Tip, no good. So the Houston Cougars overcome the patient offensive tactics of Wake Forest, and they lead. That's the end of the first half. With our score, Houston 34 and Wake Forest 31. CBS Sports coverage of the NCAA basketball tournament will continue after this commercial message and a word from your local station.
Welcome back to New York. I'm Brent Musburger. The second half of our NCAA doubleheader today, the West Region Final. And, of course, that matches Georgetown against the Dayton Flyers. You know, Georgetown reminds me somewhat of a great fighter. They start losing and they're sluggish in the first couple of rounds, but you give them enough opportunities and back they come. Remember their opening game against SMU? Watch John Koncak of the Mustangs. He put it right in Pat Ewing's face. You're not supposed to be able to do that. John Thompson ordered his controversial stall game. Now, the Hoyas were able to work one slick basket off of it, but it gave the Mustangs a chance to relax and hang right in the game. And indeed, they had an opportunity to pull it out. But in the final analysis, there was too much Pat Ewing. He hit this shot. He also tapped in a missed free throw, and Georgetown survived. But that's about all you can say about it. Then it was the next game against UNLV, and they were still not very impressive when they started. Sloppy passes like this. Ball was out of bounds. UNLV, they went up 21-15, and John said, oh, no, here we go again. But then suddenly, the tremendous talent on this team started to take over. And if there's any single team in the tournament field left that you have to watch out for now, it will be Georgetown. And, of course, coming up later, they'll be matched against Dayton here on CBS. And we will continue on the road to the Final Four in just a moment.
The preceding message provided by the NCAA.
Yesterday in the East Regional, it was Virginia over Indiana. And, you know, that had to be an extremely bitter loss for Bobby Knight. Yeah, he's happy about beating North Carolina, but he gets this close, and Bobby Knight has to feel that he should be headed for Seattle. They let this one get away from him. They had a chance to win it. Now, Olden Polynice here, the Cavaliers, gets it over Uwe Blab, but Blab played very well. One of the keys was Steve Alford just could not get into the rhythm offensively. Bobby took him out in the second half, talked to him, and then Steve came back and made this beautiful spinning move, 38-36. Now the pressure is on the calm Terry Holland. He needed a hero.
We played so hard, and we had a chance to win it. You know, just one more play we knew was all it was going to take. One rebound here, a free throw there. And, of course, my insides were really churning, Terry.
And here's the play that both coaches are seeing over and over today. Kenton Edelin with the steal. Virginia down by a point. They go up by a point. With precious few seconds left, Stu Robinson misses a shot, and Ricky Stokes simply dribbles out the clock.
I just wanted to get the rebound. I saw the ball fall off, and it was all over after that.
Now, in the Mid-East Regional Final, Joe B. Hall was matched up a very well-coached Illinois team. Lou Henson is underrated, but he has Dickie Beal going for him, and he's meant a lot to Kentucky. There he is getting the ball to Mel Turpin. Also, Joe B.'s got a splendid freshman in Winston Bennett, 8 first-half points, and a lot of muscle inside. Now watch Dickie Beal throw the pass to Jim Master and Sam Bowie on the follow. And then Beal took over again.
Again, they go to the safety release there, and Bowie, Dickie Beal, drives in for two.
By me being a senior, I think they follow my lead. I think they look for me to try to make something happen. And I think that with the confidence they have in me, with the confidence Coach Hall has in me, I just got to get something done.
And in a land of thoroughbreds, well, he's added a quarter horse to that Kentucky attack, and that means a lot for him. So we're at half now. This is the Midwest Regional Final, and our score right now is Houston 34, Wake Forest 31. Houston doing a very good job of getting the ball inside right now to Olajuwon. You know, during the first half, one of my colleagues, Steve Grody, he thought an official made a bad call. Permit me just to disagree for a moment, but I always thought that the defensive man had to be set in a situation such as this. Let's take another look at it. As far as I could maintain, the defensive player was still on the move, and there was certainly no charge in this play. Now, but, you know, sometimes those fellas from Michigan, you know, they always did look at things a little bit differently than the rest of us, and I'm sure that he'll have a few words on that when we continue on the road to Seattle here at CBS in just a moment.
Form for tickets to the 1985 Men's Basketball Championship must be postmarked on April 3rd, 1984. Tickets are $43, which includes admission to the semifinals and final in Lexington, March 30th and April 1st. To get an application form, write University of Kentucky, Athletic Ticket Office, Memorial Coliseum, Lexington, Kentucky, 40506. The preceding message provided by the NCAA.
I'm going to get you, Musburger.
My curly-headed colleague has a few thousand words he wants to address to you.
I'm coming to Seattle, Musburger.
Muhammad Ali and I'll be back in just a minute to discuss that. CBS Sports' coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship will continue after this commercial message and a word from your local station.
Today's regional final tournament game is sponsored by Chevrolet. America is on the move, and Chevrolet is supplying the wheels. Chevrolet and you taking charge. Sentry, for all your insurance needs, you can count on your local Sentry agent where all's well, even when all isn't. And by Budweiser, for all you do, this Bud's for you.
Halftime score, Houston leading Wake Forest 34-31 here at the arena in St. Louis. I feel just a little bit like a Scandinavian version of Angelo Dundee. I got my man ready here, and he wants to respond.
I'm coming after the big guy. I'm coming after him right now. Let's take a look at this play. Now, the word set, on his interpretation, there would never be a charge when the defense was moving, because you can't be set if you're playing defense. The only time we usually see a charge is when you're standing still. Now watch. Well, I say right here, I say the defensive man has established his position. He doesn't have to be set. He established his position, and Franklin is the player which initiated the contact. He dips his shoulder and forces the contact. Now watch. A different angle. The defensive man is set right there, and Franklin initiated the contact by dipping his shoulder and bowled him right over. I'm going to have to teach Brent something about defense.
I feel like we ought to give an area code, an 800 area code, and let them all vote on it, huh? How do you think Wake Forest, or rather Houston, has responded to the tactics Carl Tacey has used? Have they done a good job?
I think they've been most effective when Wake Forest has used that run and jump half-court defense. They've gotten it into Olajuwon 8 times. He scored 8 times. And I just think they're doing a good job of passing the ball and getting it inside. Michael Young still having a tough time shooting the ball, 1 for 5 from the field.
Olajuwon hitting 75% of the last 6 games coming in, has hit 8 of 8. He's got 1 block shot, 3 dunks. And there's the young man out of Lagos, Nigeria. Reed Gettys will inbound. Let's check the lineups for you. Michael Young has the ball now. Alvin Franklin, the point guard, along with Olajuwon, who is not in foul trouble either, and that's significant for Houston. And for the Wake Forest Demon Deacons, Delaney Rudd guarding Gettys now. Lee Garber, along with Danny Young. The first steal of the second half made by Wake Forest. Comes Danny Young across the line. 3-year starter for the Demon Deacons. Delaney Rudd hit that all day in the first half. Misses this one. Garber with a follow. Olajuwon with a foul.
Well, that time I think Garber went up knowing that he wasn't going to score, but did a great job in drawing the foul. But I think that, you know, Olajuwon may play a little more aggressively now in the second half. Go for a few more blocks. First foul.
Olajuwon has fouled out 8 times this year, only once in the tournament. That was down in Memphis against Louisiana Tech. And Friday night, he had only 1 foul in the first half, and here today, none in the first half. He now picks up his first. Lee Garber at the line.
It's very obvious that the coaching staff has talked to him about this, and I would have to say, and certainly he gets better and better every time out. I don't know if he'll ever reach his potential until people have to play him man-to-man. Then he'll show his entire repertoire. But certainly staying out of foul trouble has been the real big key in his play.
Let's see what Wake Forest has in mind defensively here early in the second half of the game.
Down a point. They're in a man-to-man. Tichy fronting Olajuwon now. Played behind him the majority of the first half, and now they're trying to front him. Oh, got behind that time. Good pass.
Michael Young. Now he is 2 for 6. I think he has to get back on his game for Houston to really play well. And he hit 5 of 22 the other night, 1 of 5 in the first half, but that's a confidence builder for him.
I think you're absolutely right. But once again, Houston finds a way to do it. You described them as being like the Mississippi River a couple weeks ago, that they just keep rolling along, and I think that's a good description. They find a way to do it.
Trying to become only the 5th team to get to the Final Four 3 years in a row. Or one team has done it twice. Ohio State did. Cincinnati has done it. UCLA has done it. Kentucky.
Trying to figure out what kind of defense this team's playing. It looks like a 2-3 set. Oh, another great block. So I'd love to take a look at that.
Alvin Franklin driving to the lane, puts it up off the glass and in. That's what Franklin has learned to do in the last year that he's been a starter. He really has become a penetrating point guard.
Well, he's so strong when he goes inside there, and that's what he does best. He can power himself inside and jump right over the guards. Very strong player.
Largest lead for Houston in the game now, 38-33. They are up by 5.
You know, this almost looks like a 1-3-1 with the wingmen just dropping down to the baseline to match up on the offensive players. 1-1-3, if you will. But once again, trying to keep people out of the middle. This is what they did in the second half against Memphis State. Stuck Winslow defensively on that free throw line.
Kenny Green now with 8 points, and it's back to a 3-point lead, 17:40 to go in the game. Now Reed Geddes across the timeline. Into the corner to Alvin Franklin. They've got him playing down low. Olajuwon. Let's go of the ball. It's batted away, and Young retrieves it. In the opening game of the year against North Carolina State, the game they lost by so much, Olajuwon didn't make 1 pass, and it's what Guy Lewis has tried to work with him on, Steve, all year, getting the ball out.
Well, that's a great observation, because the last 2 times he touched it, he threw it out once and almost caught somebody for a layup. Look out now.
Welcome back, Michael Young, the senior out of Houston.
If he has a big second half and Houston plays well like they did the first half, I think it spells doom for Wake Forest.
Anthony Tichy.
This is certainly just like a 1-1-3 zone with Winslow guarding that middle area. They've got Geddes chasing the ball from side to side when it's in the top of the key.
Rebound Young. I want to talk about that Houston defense, because with a name like Phi Slamma Jamma, the perception of Houston is all offense. Do you think they play good defense?
Well, I'll tell you what, the key to beating Memphis State the other night was when they went to that 1-3-1 zone. It's a defense they haven't used since the Elvin Hayes days. Woo!
7-point Houston lead at 42-35, largest of the game. Carl Tacey really might have his team in the jam now. Steal by Franklin. Ricky Winslow.
The momentum is turning. I thought that was a key possession. Down 7, and you definitely needed a good shot that time.
Olajuwon having a terrific game. Here's Winslow, freshman, too strong. And Olajuwon, cognizant of the potential foul, held back. Now Wake Forest. Danny Young lays it off. Franklin knocks it out of bounds. It'll be Wake Forest inbound. John Toms, a senior who was a starter a year ago for the Demon Deacons, in for the first time. Garber sits down. Toms started the Kansas game in the second round, played only 2 minutes.
and sat down in favor of Garber.
Quite an adjustment for him. The leading scorer last year, relegated to a reserve role, has accepted it pretty well.
They can't afford to be too patient now, can they?
Well, no, I would disagree. I think, in fact, that is the key, to be patient. They threw the ball away, trying to force it inside the last time. I know that Klein may be a little weary, but he certainly helped them offensively with his perimeter shooting. I would think that maybe shortly he might get back in the ball game.
Delaney Rudd, high-point man for Wake Forest. He's got 12 all in the first half and all fairly early in the first half. I mentioned a while ago that Kentucky was one of those 5 teams who had been to the Final Four 3 years in a row. They are not. Just seems like they should have been. It is North Carolina, Cincinnati, San Francisco, UCLA, and Ohio State has done it twice.
All led by a great center.
That's right, isn't it, though?
Yep.
Every one of them. UCLA, yeah. Jerry Lucas at Ohio State.
Paul Hogue from Cincinnati. Of course, Lou.
A guy named Russell.
Yeah, Lou Alcindor back then in those days.
And now a man named Elijah Wan is trying to get Houston into the Final Four for the 3rd straight year. Timeout has been called. We've got 14:50 remaining in the game. It's a 5-point University of Houston lead. We're live from St. Louis, the arena where Wake Forest is taking on the Houston Cougars, the winner advancing to the Final Four in Seattle next week. I'm Vern Lundquist along with Steve Grody, Guy Lewis, 62 years of age last Monday, and Carl Tacey, a 51-year-old in his 12th year at Wake Forest. 42-37. Reed Geddes has the ball now. He already, Steve Grody, has 10 assists in this game. Underneath, Winslow. Geddes earlier this year tied a school record with 15 assists at home against Kansas, and he has 280-plus coming into the game. So he's almost at 300. And there is Michael Young once more. The silent assassin is back in the game.
Nicknamed by Clyde Drexler. There you see, that's pretty impressive, isn't it? Nicknamed the Silent Assassin because we're in the midst of the Phi Slama Gamma fraternity. Sometimes you don't know he's killed you till you look at the stat sheet. That was Clyde Drexler's description.
A man named Elvin Hayes and Otis Birdsong are the other two. Elvin Hayes, a part of the team that went to the Final Four back-to-back in 1967 and 68. Guy Lewis has had his team in the Final Four 4 times. 67, 68, 82, 83. He'd like to get him back in 84. 560 career wins. Here's Young. Not there. Elijah Wan with a rebound and a chance to really open it up now. And the first double-digit lead of the game could be coming. Reed Geddes, 10 assists, 296 for the year.
Offensively, it's been Michael Young back into the flow. Defensively, they have kept the ball out of the middle the entire second half.
Time remaining, 13:50. Elijah has to alter his shot and draws the foul from Kent Green.
Once again, let him put the ball on the floor, give him an opportunity to turn into the lane, get on balance, and make a good move. He hung that time and drew the foul.
Take a look at it again. The assist underneath the Geddes.
And I would agree that to a large extent the way to play defense around the basket is to pressure the passer, but no question that someone else has got to get back in that lane area when a big guy gets it and prevent him from putting it on the floor.
He is only a 50% free throw shooter in tournament play and just above that in the regular season. And now Wake Forest has a chance to shave it back to 6 points, 45-37. And we've got 13:35 remaining in the game.
And Klein back into the ball game. Still have yet to get that ball on the free throw line where they tried to and successfully attacked this Houston defense in the first half.
Baseline jumper. It's good.
Great concentration with Elijah Wan coming right at you, ready to swat it away.
Kenny Green now into double digits. He's got 10 points, and Geddes brings it across.
Klein in and give him the task of trying to shut down Michael Young.
Underneath, Geddes, what a fine pass. Elijah Wan off the glass. That's 11 assists for Geddes now. School record is 15 for Houston.
You talk about a big man who's learned to play the game pretty quickly, and Elijah Wan does a great job of positioning himself inside. Gets that defender on his back very well. It's up to the rest of the people to get him the ball.
Danny Young.
Boy, oh boy, you love to see somebody, a player like him, who has hit 2 big shots as this ball game looks like it could turn completely in Houston's favor. Hit 2 long jumpers.
Geddes tries to get it underneath. Deflection is saved by Young. They'll go back and recock it.
1-3-1 zone defense, and they'll trap a little bit on the wings in the corner.
Young. Right. Not there. Olajuwon saves it. Nice move. Okay. I'm gonna give you something else with which you can disagree with Mr. Musburger.
All right.
If you're starting a team and you've got your choice, you know, it's like 3rd grade recess and you're going to pick sides. You've got Ewing and Olajuwon. Who are you going to start it with?
Well, you know, so much of that decision depends on what type of team you've already got and who your players are.
Does the fence hurt so far? I said you're starting the team.
I start a team.
You're starting a team.
Period.
Who do you think?
I promise you I will answer that before we leave the air, but do let me think about it.
Okay.
Because that's a tough one.
I hope the tickets don't hurt.
I know one thing. All you've done is put me in a position to make somebody mad, though.
11:29 to go. 49-43. Houston leading by 6. Reed Geddes. Olajuwon off his hands. Wake Forest ball. Well, the other night, DePaul had so many opportunities when one thought they were really going to take it away. And all of a sudden, you look up in the last 2 minutes, and here came the Demon Deacons, and they're
coming right now.
Absolutely.
And once again, although it seemed like it was all them the first half, Houston actually won the first half. And it seemed all Houston right now, but they're only down 6 points, and you get the feeling that the scene set is a lot like it was the other night.
Good position by Young for the rebound as he elbows Mark Klein out of the way. Now Geddes. Reed Geddes first came to public attention in this arena 2 years ago when he was a freshman. Look at the pass. Michael Young, that's short. And here comes Wake Forest. Green looks, lays it up. And Geddes, well, was he set or was he not?
They called block. See, now this is a situation where you have to be set because you're standing, the guy goes up in the air, you have to be set in your position. You can't move after he leaves the air. So let's take a look. Leaves the air, and he was moving. See, he wasn't set. When you're in the air, that's when the word set becomes a factor. There you see. See, he took that little last shuffle step. That's a very good call by the official.
Kenny Green gets the first. Reed Geddes, who hit 10 out of 10 free throws to ice the win against Boston College here in the arena in St. Louis his freshman year. Green now with 11 points.
And I think coming into...
They're back to within 4, 49-45 with 10:33 to go.
All right, now, we talk so often about when you spring the full court pressure being as important as the fact that you do it, period, and do it well. Tried to surprise them there, and they handled it.
Franklin looks at Olajuwon, goes back to Geddes. Now Young.
And Tichy much more aware of trying to front Olajuwon as he scores every time he gets it.
Goaltending. 25 points.
Now, has he missed a basket yet? Has he missed a basket at all? I know he was 8 for 8 in the first half. Now, I'm not so sure that he's missed one yet.
He has not missed.
He does he has a great spin move. He gets that ball, puts it on the floor. He feels pressure. He feels that defender on his back, and he spins on him, traps him, and I think he's scored every time.
Olajuwon is 12 of 12 from the field. Green.
You know, that's the toughest shot in basketball. That little 7 or 8 foot jump shot where it's all wrist. You know, it's all touch, and it's so hard to gauge the distance to the basket because you don't have a real background to use.
Largest lead in the game has been 8 by Houston in this half. Good pass, Michael Young. Winslow short, gets the rebound, puts it in. Ricky Winslow out of Houston Yates High School.
Young is great at getting the ball, catching it, and going straight up without putting it on the floor, but he can take it to the basket well.
How many times have we seen that in this ball game? Danny Young, the senior guard, number 20.
That's that spot. He's hit his 3 of his last 4, or maybe 3 in a row from there.
Wake Forest partisans on their feet. A 53-49 game with 9 minutes remaining. From the corner, too strong. Olajuwon over the top, his second foul of the game.
Excellent block out defense by Tichy that time. drew the foul.
Chance now for Wake Forest to cut the lead to 2. Timeout has been called. Both teams will talk it over. Guy Lewis will confer with his bunch. 53-49. We've got 8:58 remaining in the game. Houston on top as they have been through most of the game. Interesting tactical decision by Carl Tacey might be forthcoming now. Guy Lewis talking with his team. Houston is really a poor free throw shooting team. Might Wake Forest, Steve, want to go ahead and foul to put the Cougars on the line?
Well, you remember last year in the championship game, North Carolina State continually put Houston on the free throw line down the stretch, put pressure on them to make the free throws, and they couldn't do it. Now, another similar situation that we saw in the Kentucky game. With only 3 team fouls, Wake Forest may want to accumulate a couple so that in the last 2 minutes they don't have to foul continually to make them go to the line.
Saw the graphic on Olajuwon, a perfect day from the field so far, 12 of 12. As a team, Houston hitting 62% of their free throws. And the other night, in their win over Memphis State, they shot only 32% in the second half in that game, but they went to the line 36 times against the Tigers. They hit only 22. They are not a good free throw shooting team. Teaching. It's a 2-point ball game. Always 53-51.
Always interesting to see what teams do out of a timeout. Dickens comes in to guard Young defensively for Houston. They go man-to-man, and Wake Forest answers.
Ronaldo Thomas also in the lineup for Guy Lewis. So 2 subs. These are 2 of the Smothers brothers at guard. Ronaldo Thomas and Eric Dickens, who has the ball right now. Into the corner to Winslow, so Franklin and Geddes are on the bench.
A little triangle and 2 now. Delaney Rudd will front Olajuwon everywhere he goes, and they're guarding Michael Young man-to-man.
Dickens, Michael Young, back to Dickens, underneath Olajuwon. He's 13 for 13.
And they haven't been from very far from the basket. Excellent patience, excellent ball movement. You've got to be impressed with the way this Houston team has played the entire ball game.
Been a fascinating game from a tactical perspective.
Really has.
Kenny Green, it's back to 2. 55-53 with 7:38 to go. Now Delaney Rudd, who's been hampered by bad leg, knee, and thigh problems all year long.
Into a man-to-man now.
Eric Dickens is a junior from Houston. Most of the recruits for the Cougars have come from the Gulf Coast area.
And Teachy just can't get around in front of Olajuwon. Olajuwon's too strong, and his arms and shoulders are too wide. Teachy can't get in front of him.
Take a look at it underneath.
A little action after the whistle blew. He can't get around now. He tries to attack from the baseline side. See, they let him bounce the ball. He turns in the basket now. Boy, Green took one in the face when the ball got knocked out of Olajuwon's hands.
Basket shot too strong for Michael Young. And a chance to tie for the Demon Deacons of Wake Forest. Rudd. Oh, he was looking in toward the post and had the ball go right into the Houston band.
That time they ran it down the right side, tried to get someone along the baseline before the Houston defense had a chance to set up like a wide receiver trying to run before he catches the pass. Rudd missed it.
Penetration, and the foul, I believe, will be on Delaney Rudd. Number 15, that is his 3rd.
Once again, the team fouls now, up to 5 on Wake Forest. So down the stretch, when they want to put them to the line, it looks like they'll be able to relatively easily and quickly.
Geddes back in the lineup. Here's Winslow, back to Reed Geddes. 6:50 to go in the game.
Little zone off the inbounds pass. Teachy trying to get around front. Look at that. He just can't get around in front of Olajuwon.
Winslow short with a shot. Demon Deacons have a chance to tie it again. Whoa! Young's pass intercepted by Young. And they'll come the other direction. They had Olajuwon open on the break, but a foul in backcourt before Young could let it go.
Slow it down, boys. That's what Tacey says. Slow it down. And that was the mistake right there.
Now then, that is 16 fouls on Wake Forest, and that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No, I think it's fortunate for them because now with the next one, it'll be 1-1. And you remember Kentucky yesterday kept giving fouls down the stretch against Illinois when they were trying to get off a shot.
Young.
Only shooters get those bounces.
It had to be softly thrown up to get that kind of a bounce, and it was. 57-53. Mark Klein out of South Williamson, Kentucky. Shot won't go. Follow, block. Elijah Wan, clean block. Houston ball.
Tichy real upset. Had the ball in his hands and actually lost the ball when he brought it down, and I think he bounced it off Klein's head. Klein does a great job of following his shot right here. I think he's going in to try and draw the foul. I thought he was going to get that up there. Now watch. He brings it down and it goes right off of Klein's head.
That is not using your head.
Michael using it in the wrong way.
Yeah. 57-53. 5:57 to go in the game. Reed Geddes, one of the few times he'll take it up. Rebound. Michael Young, too strong. Elijah Wan battles. Geddes has it. Fakes once too often. Misses the shot. Elijah Wan's going to solve it. No. How many times did they have? Geddes is beside himself. Watch the sequence again.
Just, you know, it's almost like the DePaul, some of the DePaul series, offensive series we saw the other night, where all the rolls down the stretch seemed to go Wake Forest way. Boy, how many times would you think they would have scored if they took these shots individually in an offensive possession? Maybe scored 4 times in that exchange?
At the end of it all, Ricky Winslow with a foul. Now they get Eric Dickens. Lee Garber is back in the game. It's 57-53 with 5:41 to go.
Once again, Wake Forest, and they make no bones about it. They just want to be in a position to win the ball game down the stretch. They've done that a number of times. We've told you in overtime, 6-1 this season. For a team with 23 wins, they haven't outscored their opponents by many points on the year.
Ronaldo Thomas back in the lineup for Houston. 5:35 to go. 57-53. Check the lineups now. Garber, Delaney Rudd, Danny Young, Tichy, and Ken Green for Wake Forest. Underneath, Elijah Wan. That's number 3.
One of the few times in a post-up situation they've even looked to go into Tichy. When he got it, he knew what to do. And once again, the ability to get that ball to the glass quickly before a bigger man has a chance to go up and block the shot.
Reed Geddes back in. Ronaldo Thomas on the bench. Eric Dickens also going out as Alvin Franklin comes in. Here comes Eric Franklin back in the lineup. Alvin Franklin back in the lineup. Elijah Wan now with 3 fouls, all in this half, and Anthony Tichy, who is one of the better tall free throw shooters in the country, is at the line.
Nice job putting Franklin back in the lineup. Nearing a situation where they may have to go to the free throw line, and Franklin has been a very good one all season long, and especially in the tournament.
Tichy now 2 of 2 on the free throw line tonight. 57-54, 5:24 to go. Guy Lewis getting a little concerned. They had an 8-point lead.
Get rid of it.
Oh, boy.
The pressure's still on here.
Winslow, Michael Young. Young with a follow. He draws a foul.
Woo.
That may be one of the biggest plays this afternoon.
This is a great play. Doesn't charge right here. A good no call, I think. Both players initiating contact, and then the official right on top of the play. Off the miss, catches it in midair, and goes up. That 3-point plays. To me, it was always such a backbreaker. Especially in this situation. 5 minutes of play.
No. 59-55. They are not even a decent shooting free throw team.
Bad shot that time.
Winslow with a rebound.
Plenty of time in this game. Climbs up.
On the free throw line so far, Wake Forest is a perfect 7 of 7. Houston is 5 of 10.
Look at this.
He's still perfect.
He feels it.
And that, Steve Grody, is not the easiest shot in the arsenal.
No, and you know, in terms of his field goal shooting, it's always up to the official stat man as to whether or not a tip is considered a shot attempt. So he may or may not be perfect from the field.
Olajuwon.
Fast break.
Alvin Franklin, Michael Young, too strong. Foul underneath, Ricky Winslow. That's his third.
Team foul number 6. No, that'll be number 7. No, they're in the bonus now. Klein will have to wait for Garber to shoot.
Number 11 on the all-time list of winning coaches, Guy Lewis. Ricky Winslow's third foul, and Lee Garber will be at the line.
Nice move by Young on that fast break, jumped past the defense, avoided the charge again. The bounces still continue to go Wake Forest way, and they're still in this one.
Michael Young had an ineffective game Friday night, an ineffective first half, but he has been one of the keys to the Houston lead here in the second stanza. We're approaching the 4-minute mark remaining in the game. 4:04. Underneath, Olajuwon.
Oh, Akeem, he does a pretty good job of convincing you, the naked eye, that he was not the last one to touch that, but it will be Wake Forest ball.
Olajuwon, perfect today. 4 minutes exactly remaining in this ball game. The winner goes to Seattle in the Final Four. They join the teams already in there, Kentucky and Virginia. Wake Forest last was there in 1962 when Billy Packer and Lynn Chappell led the Demon Deacons. Houston was last there a year ago.
Let me just tell you why that stoppage in play may have been important. It gave Wake Forest a chance to get Klein in the ball game. They've taken Garber out, and he's more of an offensive threat.
Ball tipped out of bounds by Ricky Winslow. Olajuwon now 14 of 15 from the field. And has 29 points for the Cougars.
Now back into the 2-3 zone now.
Young way up in the air.
Foul on Rudd.
And Delaney Rudd picks up his fourth foul. Delaney Rudd had 12 points in the first 14 minutes of the game, but he's been quiet since then. Carl Pacey, 1 year at Marshall. You know Guy Lewis is still the number 8 all-time scorer in the University of Houston list? Huh? Averaged 20.6 points per game back in the 40s.
He's a gunner, too. So many of these coaches were gunners in their playing days. My coach was Johnny Orr. Big miss again. Keeps him right in it.
61-55. Might as well get used to the fact that the Cougars will be at the line for much of the final 3.5 minutes.
Well, now into that 2-3 zone, but look at Franklin. Always aware of where those people are around the foul line defensively. Still don't want them to get it in that position so they can attack offensively.
Young misses this one. Olajuwon with a rebound. Thought about going down to Franklin at midcourt, then passed.
Pretty big rebound.
Yeah. That's 10 rebounds for Olajuwon to go with his 29 points. He's averaging 13 rebounds per game. Winslow, see if Houston's going to pull it out and delay it. This cost them a year ago.
They're still running their offense. They got Young running the baseline. And I'm certain that they'll be very, very patient. But like we mentioned so many times, maybe they're going to run their offense and just use up time.
You're not a big fan of delay games by teams that don't practice it a lot, are you?
Well, every team practices it. I just think that when you run your offense, your people are more organized. They're aware of where they're supposed to be on the floor. I just think it's a very effective way to run the game out.
Ricky Winslow got poked in the eye.
Vern, I like the four-corner offense when you have great ball handlers who also have some speed and quickness with the ball, who can handle a defensive player in a one-on-one situation. Particularly for teams that don't have that type of a player, I think it's best to just run your offense.
Danny Young's third personal foul in the final 3 minutes. Ricky Winslow.
Has he even been in the line?
Has been 5 of 14, 36%.
And we appreciate the SIDs getting those stats for us. We've got them on both teams. The final 3 minutes, that's when the free throws really make the difference.
Jay Goldberg of Houston, John Justice of Wake Forest. Winslow gets a big one. He's looking for someplace where there's no perspiration on that towel.
Winslow was 2 of 4 from the free throw line against Memphis State the other night, but hit 2 pretty big ones, if I remember correctly, in the second half. There.
That graphic we gave you for the last 3 minutes for Ricky Winslow, the other thing that should be noted is that he is now 10 of 15 for the tournament. Oh, Elijah Wan with a block. And Houston leads by 8 with 2:18 to go.
The reverse layup was the shot they needed right there. What a great defensive play. He's wide open again.
Hit from behind, he'll go to the line.
Good defense. Let's take a look at that block. Is this so clean? You know, he is absolutely, and I don't like my last description of him. He is such an eloquent, graceful player, and he's quick as a cat inside. He's got great timing when he leaps, and he affects the game in so many ways.
I like the way you described him, and I'm also going to put you on the spot as this is a free throw. Ready to pick your man yet? Elijah Wan or Ewing?
I think the game's still being played. Saved by the timeout. Oh, we're going to stay here now.
Oh, good. We'll have time to discuss it. Timeout has been called. 1:59 to go. 63-55. Free throw shooting cost the Blue Demons at DePaul the other night. Guy Lewis, 28 years. He was a graduate of the University of Houston, 1947. Had 3 losing seasons his first 3 years, and they've not had a losing season since.
Really have had a strong program. As much as that Southwest Conference struggles for a name nationally, Houston has always been there.
Well, I think by their presence in the Southwest Conference when they came in, and then when Eddie Sutton came to Arkansas, the 2 men between them and the programs they have elevated the level of play in the conference, and now we all had a chance to see what Dave Bliss and SMU are doing, so it's not just a one-sport state anymore.
No.
And one of the men from the Southwest Conference is here, Frank Windeger, the athletic director at Texas Christian University. He's the guy in the beautiful purple jacket on the left, and Dave Hart, the young man on the right side, the athletic director at the University of Missouri. They are NCAA reps here at St. Louis.
Well, crunch time. Game's on the line. Minute 59. Time to go home for somebody.
Demon Deacons out of Wake Forest, Winston-Salem. There's the man. Chris Pond is the man who brought him to the attention of Guy Lewis. You know that when he caught a cab, he went to Houston, Elijah Wan did, and caught a cab, and because of his clipped Nigerian-British accent, he thought Houston, H-O-U-S-T-O-N, was pronounced Houston, and he said, I would like to go to the University of Austin. He almost wound up at Texas. Final free throws. You saw the graphic. We've got 1:50 to go.
There. Key substitution when he was able to get in the ball game. Missed that the first jumper he took since he got back in, but nailed that one.
Attendance today, 17,626 here at the arena in St. Louis. 98 seconds separating one of these teams from the trip to Seattle.
Now, I guarantee, I just don't believe they'll foul. I'm surprised. I didn't think they'd foul Young. I thought they'd look for a steal, and you know, I've always said, hey, let Winslow catch the ball. Guard everybody, and just don't guard Winslow or whoever you want to foul. Give them a chance to get it and then foul them.
For the season, Michael Young is hitting 67% of his free throws in the last 3 minutes
of all games.
He's 11 of 21.
52%.
Now he's 11 of 22 and even 50%. In the final 3 minutes, that's the statistic we're giving you. Oh, Elijah Wan again. And look at him get down the court. Here's Young. The answer comes from Anthony Tichy, the baseline jumper, and Wake Forest calls timeout. 67 seconds remaining in the ball game. 6-point Houston lead, 67 seconds remaining in the ball game. This Midwest Regional Championship. Houston has 3 timeouts left. Wake Forest has 1. And the possession arrow currently in the University of Houston's favor. That is in case of a hell ball. Carl Tacey His team has won a record 23 victories this year. Never before. They've had 4 consecutive seasons of 20 wins or more. Steve?
Tyrone Bogues in the lineup now. A little additional defensive pressure. They haven't seen him for a while. Let's see if he bothers them.
Nice pass from Geddes to Michael Young there across the timeline. Young double teamed and hit from behind, so he'll have a chance to improve on that 50% free throw average in the final 3 minutes of the game.
And now Carl Tacey will begin his situation substitutions. Tichy and Rudd back in the lineup.
Michael Young at the line. He is 1 of 4 today and 11 of 22 in the final 3 minutes of games played this year.
Certainly been a factor offensively in the second half. 6 of 14 from the field after 1 for 5 in the first half, but hasn't been good in this situation. Boy, back of the rim every time. Here we go.
It's been a problem all year long. 65-59. Ken Green pumps once. 65-61 with 50 seconds to go.
Oh.
And I'm sure they'll...
How about them Deeks? That's what they say. How about them Deeks? Still in a position to win this ball game.
I am thankful to Gene Overby, the broadcaster from Wake Forest, for informing us about the derivation of the Demon Deacon name. It came from a faculty representative because of the Baptist affiliation, and the Demon came because they wanted some ferocious deacon. The executive producer of NCAA college basketball for CBS is Kevin O'Malley. Today's game produced by Rick Sharp and directed by Robert Fishman. They will be in Seattle, so will Bob Matina, our associate producer, Wilbur Allmeyer, our field technical manager, and our broadcast associates Pierce O'Neill and Mark Brown. Bob Burnham, our technical director. Our thanks to the entire CBS technical crew for the pictures and the job they have done here in St. Louis, both Friday night with our DePaul game and this afternoon. We've got 50 seconds to go, 65-61. And I'm sure. Now, if you've got Geddes in the ball game and Franklin in the ball game, those are the 2 guys that Wake Forest does not want at the line. They are the best of the free throw shooters for the University of Houston.
Geddes, a 91% free throw shooter in the last 3 minutes of all ball games, 19 for 21. Now, believe it or not, Benny Anders off the bench, 9 of 10. Alvin Franklin, 31 for 37, 84%.
65-61 with 50 seconds to go. Wake Forest now out of timeouts.
Certainly now they'll try to force the 5-second call. No pressure on the ball. If they can't force the 5-second violation getting it in, they'll go for the steal. Won't waste much time in fouling somebody.
Tyrone Bogues. And it's Alvin Franklin who is hitting 90%. 84% in the final 3 minutes over the course of a 34-game season. So he's responded well, and he's been on a tear in the playoffs. He was 21 of 24 coming in. He is now 23 of 26 for the 2 games he has played in tournament competition.
Little surprised that they would foul him. A lot of time to force him with defensive pressure to give it up. I'm just a little surprised.
It seems hard to remember, but a year ago, it was thought that Alvin Franklin was the weakness of the team.
We talked about it. This is, of course, we've seen them play all their playoff games. It was really that Louisville game where he proved that he could play with the best of them. I think from a coaching standpoint, that it gave them a lot of confidence to make him a scorer. Well, that's a bomb.
Cougars may be bound for Seattle. 34 seconds to go.
Boy, nice decision. Bring it back out. This is the guy you want dribbling it. Got rid of it before the trap. Look, they're passing the ball before the trap gets there. Now, Young didn't have anybody to get it to. So he held it and didn't throw it away.
Only the 2nd foul on Kenny Green. He's had a very quiet 18-point outburst today. And Michael Young goes back to the line where he has hit only 1 out of 5 today.
He just can't get one.
1 out of 6. Watch the clock in the lower right-hand corner.
I don't know if they can afford to miss one.
Mark Klein gets 2 back.
No timeouts.
10 seconds. And they'll send Franklin to the line. 67-63.
I just don't know how they can do it now. Even if he misses this, it'll take them a good 4 or 5 seconds to get it down the floor to score. Houston will not have to inbounds the ball.
Guy Lewis, I think, knows he's bound for Seattle. And I think Tyrone Bogues and the Demon Deacons may realize they're heading back to Winston-Salem. Carl Tacey
has to be proud of his group this year. Outstanding season. I'll tell you what, Houston had to hold their breath a long, long time in this ball game. They finally got the feeling.
That's Greg Anderson. He's going to make his first trip. He's a freshman. Franklin misses. It is no matter. Delaney Rudd. That's the exact spot from which he tied the game against DePaul the other night. Mark Klein puts it up. The Cougars are heading back to the Final Four.
He says, yeah.
Houston Cougar in Guy Lewis's 28th season have become the 6th team to ever go to the Final Four 3 consecutive times. They joined UCLA, Ohio State, North Carolina, Cincinnati, and San Francisco. And Guy Lewis has his 561st career victory. Olajuwon led the way. The Cougars are heading back to Seattle. They join Kentucky and Virginia as teams already there. Now, let's go back to New York and our studio host, Brent Musburger.
All right, Vern, thank you. And yes, indeed, Houston for the 3rd straight year to the Final Four. And you know, in each of their last 2 trips, they have lost to the eventual champion. 2 years ago in this...
Notice how people feel about fast food salads?
It's rabbit food.
They're all the same.
To get to the chicken on the other side. Hardee's tender breast of chicken. The real chicken filet sandwich McDonald's and Burger King don't have. Golden fried with tasty seasonings. Lettuce, mayonnaise, and a sesame seed bun. Definitely worth crossing the road for.
Chicken filet that makes America say it's here, on here at Hardee's.
Happy birthday, WBOC.
Tonight on the CBS Saturday Night Movies, she was no ordinary girl.
We're right behind you.
Right.
With no ordinary dream.
A girl cannot play football.
But to prove them wrong, she had to pay the price.
If you don't want to be seen with me...
I just never dated a quarterback before.
And still hold on to her identity.
Here's the news. I'm a girl.
Congratulations.
Helen Hunt, Don Murray, Quarterback Princess, based on a true story. Next.
You don't always have to be the toughest kid on the block.
Hey, little girl, you're gonna get creamed.
Now, after years of development, hair care products that deserve to be called Ivory. New Ivory shampoo and new Ivory conditioner. Not fancy, just fabulous.
New Ivory doesn't have lots of fancy ingredients your hair doesn't need. Ivory cleans gently and conditions gently.
Your hair looks soft and naturally shiny. Try new Ivory shampoo and new Ivory conditioner. Not fancy, just fabulous. Look for it today.
If you are what you drive, imagine yourself as a Renault Encore.
Expressively sporty in outlook, stylishly European in design. Renault Encore, from Europe's leading car maker, built in America with independent suspension for amazing handling, electronic fuel injection for efficiency, and true to your ingenuity, you are affordable. $59.59. Are you what you drive?
I can see myself in a Renault Encore.
Renault.
The great American railroads. They were built to cut coast-to-coast travel from 5 months to 1 week and open up the West. That pioneer spirit made this country grow. Today, I see that same spirit and energy in hundreds of small to mid-sized companies whose new ideas, new jobs, and new technologies will continue to build America. At First Jersey Securities, we specialize in discovering these emerging growth companies for today's investors with vision. First Jersey Securities, come grow with us.
Every time I go to work, somebody's life could be at stake. You call an ambulance, I gotta get there. Nothing can slow me up. Not traffic, not weather, not a headache either. I get Anacin.
Regular strength pain relievers stop at 650 milligrams, but Anacin gives you more medicine, 800 milligrams.
More medicine? Good. No more headache. That's one thing off my mind.
Anacin, more medicine.
The following is based on the true story of Tammy Maeder.
Ainsworth, my name is Ralph Nader.
Keogh, you gotta come back. It's not 2 steps.
I'm moving my family down from Prince George, Canada. I'd like to find out about tryouts for your team.
Well, that's great. We can always use new blood. George, keep an eye on things, will you? We'll be right back. All right. Come on this way.
Come on, guys.
All right, Blaylock, let's work some fast.
No? Now. Let's go.
So, what brings you to Minville?
I'm finishing my doctorate in psychology at Oregon State. We're only here for the school term.
Okay, here you go. We practice Monday through Friday, noon to 3 till school starts.
Good.
I can work in a tryout anytime.
Good. I'll have her bring these back on Monday, okay?
Sure. I'll need a doctor's certificate, too, but there's no rush. We won't start scrimmaging before, You just said her.
Yeah, it's my daughter, Tammy.
Your daughter, Tammy, wants to be a football player.
Mm-hmm.
Well, golly, sure would like to have Tammy on my team. But the school board would never go for it. It's my tough luck.
Are you saying we have to go to the school board first?
Tell me something. Why in hell would you want to push your daughter into a man's sport like football? Don't you have any sons at home?
No. And if I did, I wouldn't push them into playing football either. But if that's what they wanted to do, I'd try to give them the opportunity to do it. It's what Tammy wants. So when is this school board meeting?
It's a week from Friday.
Good. We'll be there. Any other questions?
Just one. What position does Tammy play?
Quarterback.
That's perfect.
Hey, Judy. Hi, Heidi.
Okay. Tell me what happened.
Well, first, the school board has to vote on whether you even get a chance to try out. If they approve, then you get to bump heads with the rest of the team and show them what you can do. But I don't think the coach is going to be on your side. Still want to go through with it?
Yeah.
Okay. We're with you all the way. Let's gather them up and move them out.
Regular city. Is there a movie?
I don't know. That's what I'd like. I'd like to go to the movies.
Pizza! All right.
Grizzly country.
Look at all those football players.